Most of my projects focus on something that the entrepreneur never asks. Because when we map the processes, I can understand some things, some phases that can be automated or substituted by AI, and they don't even know it. So I would say the real need at the beginning is
Yeah, so welcome to our panel discussion. I have today 3 AI experts here, and I would like to discuss with them a bit about the perception of AI in companies. These 2 gentlemen, they are both basically working as AI consultants, so they know the world of companies very well. So maybe we start with Andrea. He's from Italy, by the way. Maybe you can start with a very short introduction about yourself, and then a bit what are you doing in companies, and how is your perception, how companies see AI and how AI is already implemented within businesses.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, my name is Andrea, and I'm an AI consultant. So what I do is I help companies integrate AI in their processes, and I do that with an expertise in learning and development. So I actually help them also manage the change, because this is one of the biggest problems when you implement AI in a company. Change management is a huge part of the process, because most of employees are not so keen to adapt to change, and that's actually key if we want to evolve the company and introduce some new technology. So when there's, as we saw in Mr. Gosh, Dr. presentation, digital transformation comes through change management as well. The second problem is definitely data management. Usually data is not well managed in most of the companies, especially the smallest, and so that's the first 2 problems that we need to assess when I get to a company and we start the digital transformation process. So I would say those 2 are the main obstacles.
Okay.
When implementing it.
Maybe a few words to yourself, and then we heard about the obstacles now. But how do you see the situation in companies in general? If you take 10 random companies, how far do you think they are in the implementation of artificial intelligence? We heard a lot of innovation today. What is happening, what is coming, what is possible with AI? Where do you think companies are standing?
Thank you. First of all, hello everyone. My name is Amar, and strictly to your question, Mark, companies are a bit confused, I would say, because it's all about budget cuts. It's all about we have to introduce AI, we have to utilize AI any way, shape, or form without really understanding AI. AI in itself, I like to think that when internet became popular, we had like dial-up, and I would say that AI is currently in the stage of dial-up. So it's still starting. There is a plethora of tools outside, so it's important to identify what tool that you need, that the company needs, and that will increase your efficiency, improve the productivity, and in the best case also lower the costs. So the companies are searching, and the biggest issue is that a lot of tools are still paid. So in order to identify the best tools, you first need to identify the problem that they try to resolve. So as long as you have that, as long as you have that open approach and transparent approach, and really have the possibility to do active listening to the issues that the companies have, then you will be able to succeed in implementing AI and actually solving the issues that they have.
Schumann, we had your presentation earlier, but as we also people in the live stream, maybe you start again 2 sentences about yourself, and then you have basically your own platform, your own tool. How does this help companies in comparison to ChatGPT, Gemini, or any other AI tool which is already on the market?
Yeah, so thank you for having me, and good evening again, everyone. So I'm Dr. Anshuman. I'm the founder and CEO of Minerva Technologies, and 15 plus years of experience in some of the Fortune 100 and unicorn startup companies, including Disney, Sony, Target, Grab. And as per my education goes, I did my graduation in computer science around 20 years back, and then I worked in the corporates. I did my MBA from one of the top 5 colleges in India, and I also did my PhD. Now coming back to the second part of the question about our platform, I think some of the things my friends already mentioned, that when you are trying to implement AI, everybody is interested, but everybody is confused. And at the same time, my friend also mentioned about time, effort, cost, right? I think it's not a question of AI or not. First point, both of them mentioned the value, right? It has to solve a problem, right? So AI that solves a problem and that doesn't cost you, a truckload of money, effort, and time. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at the ROI, right? ROI, what is the return? Return means, can it increase my revenue? Can it increase my profit? Can it save my time, effort, right? Isn't it? And when I'm trying to do that, do I need to spend a lot of money? Do I need to spend millions of dollars, or can I do it at a very low cost, right? And I think ChatGPT has done it very well, but for chatbot, right? And if you remember my first slide, I said AI is huge, and out of AI there is machine learning, out of there is deep learning, within deep learning there is LLM, and ChatGPT is just one type of LLM, right? And if we look at our businesses, can chatbot just solve all our problems, right? Let's say you have a platform, right, AI XXX, where a lot of courses are offered, right, and people are subscribing. So if you want to predict how many courses will be sold next week, next month, that's what you need. Now can you go to ChatGPT and ask, hey, my AI XXX platform, how many courses will sell over the next 3 months? ChatGPT has no clue. It will pull something from internet for some blog and try to answer, right? Second question, let's take retail or even your website example. Let's say you got a lot of learner, right, and they come to your platform and you have a lot of lectures or content available. Now how do you match the two, right? So if all the people who joined today, say 50 people offline, probably 100 more online, and they come and register on the platform, right, and they go, everybody should get courses personalized to them. Now maybe we have 100 courses, 1,000 courses. Every course is not relevant for everybody. So Paramita wants a particular course, Kunal wants something else, and as they start browsing, checking things, are able to personalize the content to them. And I'm giving example of your course, but this can be applied to everywhere, right? If I talk about e-commerce, when you go to Amazon, that happens, right? Like it can understand what you're searching, what you're clicking, keeps recommending the product. But is it happening on all the other e-commerce store? No, it's not happening. We have to go and find things so difficult. You have to search and browse. That's a very difficult process, right? So recommendation and personalization, a huge example, right? But very difficult to do because very few people have done, very few people even understand, right? I think my friend is working in retail, right? He's talked about forecasting and recommendation also. Like even if you talk about offline retail, we go to a shop, how you shop, right? There are 2 ways you shop. Either you go and pick up the product, or you ask the store guy that I want something. A store guy asks you back that, madam, what do you want? Do you want red or green? Do you want this brand or that brand? What's your budget? Why they have to ask? If you have gone there, let's say I go to Starbucks, and if I like a latte, why I have to go every time to Starbucks and tell, hey, I want a latte without this sugar or something? Can't they understand my taste and preference and customize what they're doing? So recommendation to forecasting, these are problems that ChatGPT cannot solve, right? Then you also have something like customer analytics, or for example, we have geospatial, right? Now let's say I'm here in Dubai today at Opus at Omniath, right? And after this event, everybody will get tired, get hungry, right? And let's say I want to have some nice German food, or I want to have some nice Italian food, right? Where should I go? Right, or maybe I want to search based on my budget or rating. Let's say I want to find best Italian pizza places which is within 1 kilometer from here. Won't it be wonderful, right? So we have system where we can do that, because we also have got all the data about Dubai, right? All the hotel data, all the restaurant data.
So that's a lot of great use cases.
Absolutely.
Of let's say your platform or of AI in general.
Okay.
How is it according to you, Amr and Andrea, whoever wants to answer? What kind of use cases you see when it comes to AI? Can be ChatGPT, can be other tools when it goes for companies. So I'm a normal company, I produce something, I work in the same way as I've always worked, and now there's AI. What are use cases which are easy for companies to implement, which you are meeting in your daily work, which you are presenting to companies, where you help companies to implement them?
So I'll start by my area of expertise, so learning and development, but also human resources in general. Personalization. That's something that in education is key, because Einstein, the famous quote, cannot judge a fish by how it climbs a tree, otherwise they'll think that stupid is all life. That's what has limited education within our whole life. And corporate training is the same. Now with AI, LMSs allow us to give personalized training to each single employee, whether the company has 10,000 employees or 5. And that's huge because, of course, it increases the efficiency of the training. It increases the retention of talents also. Because, of course, if you look at my needs and try to solve them singularly and not regarding like the company as a whole, I'm way more engaged, I'm way more motivated, so you company will have a higher possibility to retain my talent. And so people are seen, people are listened to, people are developed. And so this is one of the...
Okay, it sounds great, but how is the company doing this? So let's go again back to my company. I produce some steel bars and I want to educate all my people individually according to their strengths and weaknesses. So how do I do this? How does this work?
Well, of course, each company has different needs in terms of education, so training.
Yes.
There are different platforms on the market, so we understand what type of platform you need in terms of how many employees you have, what type of courses you want to give, and then of course we implement the platform. Once the platform is inside, of course it comes with, most of the platforms come with a huge library of courses from soft skills to also technical skills, but also you can actually create the content yourself, even without any type of experience, because these platforms allow us to create the content, create the courses ourselves, and this way we can train our people on our product, on our processes, through our expertise and our documents. Of course, the models, we need to give the data to the model, and then pieces are done.
Understood. Amar, any other use case from your side?
Yeah, definitely. One of the biggest hurdles when it comes to companies is the sensitivity of the data.
Yes.
So, yes, it's great if you think about, I'll use ChatGPT for whatever, but you are feeding your sensitive data into a model which is using that data and all other data in the world to train itself. So the question is, how much do I want to share? How much can I share? Not just legally speaking, but also ethically speaking. So you have the possibility, of course, to say, I'm going to go closed source, not open source, or use an open source LLM, train it for myself and just use it internally, which is great, but it costs. Or you can utilize AI tools to create content for your own company. Let's maybe touch into the HR. So let's say you would like to make your onboarding experience a bit better. So you can use AI to generate videos, which would be like 10 to 15 seconds long. And that is utilizing the psychological aspect of micro-learning. We all know how popular Instagram Reels are, TikTok and everything. That is all the short form content, which is easily digestible, understandable. So you can create funny or interactive 10, 15 seconds videos using AI to explore your onboarding and make your onboarding seamless and more fun overall. So that's maybe one of the use cases.
Yeah.
You can use it for sales. You can use it for sales training of your salespeople. But I wouldn't say that you are at the point, maybe a small, medium company, even larger companies, where you can say, no, I'm just fully going to rely on ChatGPT, on OpenAI, on Llama, Cloud, Sonnet, because it depends on what type of data you aim to feed it. If you are going to use it with your own ideas, just to enhance that idea, maybe box it up, make it more beautiful, great. But I wouldn't say, oh no, I'm going to fill out all of my sensitive data, all of my documentation, upload it, and say, okay, create something out of this. You need to be wary of the potential repercussions. Sharing that data, even you as a normal employee in the company, depending on your position, you have several authorities, or you have the possibility to use the data or see it. It's very important.
I think the data protection point is one of the most important points, and also a point where many companies are saying, well, we better don't use AI because we don't know what happens to our data. How can this be solved from the technical point of view? I mean, I'm a company, I want to get analysis out of my data because there's a lot of knowledge inside, there's a lot of power inside, and I want to do this. So how can I do this without losing my data?
Well, you can definitely go for an open source LLM, close it out into your own environment, train it for your own things, not just fully like from the ground up training, it's unnecessary, it's very cost inducing, and then use it internally. We already have several of those, for example, Cambridge is using one of those closed LLMs for their internal, which is perfect. And then other companies are also starting to build upon it. And that is one of the use cases where you can say, okay, I have my in-house ChatGPT, Mark GPT, and that's what you are using, and you are feeling that data is not going outside, it's your internal.
Andrea, when you are working for companies as a consultant, in which areas are you mostly, which areas they mostly ask you to help them in? Is it more on marketing, on sales, on procurement, on finance, or which are the areas you think are the most wanted when it comes to AI in companies?
I would say marketing is one of the first areas they ask me about. Just because I do target small companies, so sometimes marketing, they don't have the budgets to invest in big marketing teams, content creation, social media management, all they would like to do. So yeah, I help them, in terms of cost, in terms of resources, they don't need to hire. And so that would be the first area. Second area, of course, human resources. Because again, AI makes it more personalized and makes the talent acquisition, also the onboarding, as Amar was saying, very easy, and it makes things more approachable, more easy to get in terms of few resources to allocate. So those are the two main areas, but of course then operations is huge because there are many things. But I would say that most of my projects focus on something that the entrepreneur never asks. Because when we map the processes, I can understand some things, some phases that can be automated or substituted by AI, and they don't even know it. So I would say the real need at the beginning is education, because you need to know where AI can actually impact your business, and then of course there's transformation.
And the people working in those companies, are they afraid of you? Are they afraid that you are now bringing AI and they lose their job, or are they happy that you are coming?
The ones who don't take the decisions are, I would say, 80% afraid, because of course AI, as we saw it tonight, has some bad reputation in terms of replacing jobs. But that's not what we're trying to do.
No, of course not. Yeah, but it's the fear.
When I started, I said that change management is huge. Whenever we touch AI, whenever we touch digital transformation, and change management is what takes those afraid people to use AI in their daily job and actually cheer for AI, because they can work on what's really valuable. And I think that's what we should focus on for the future, because that's what the humans can do that AI can't. And so, as we saw at the beginning, you can train AI to go from point A to point B. You can add variables. We saw the retail example with different variables. You can train AI the more specific models, but it will never come up and tell you, why don't you do that? There's COVID, sales go down. We can actually ask AI what's going to happen, but AI will not tell you, why don't you deliver those pizzas if you're a restaurant? Because that's the creativity that AI doesn't have, and that's where humans should focus and should actually spend more time to create more value.
According to questionnaires of many organizations about the usage of AI in companies, there are only about 25, 30, depends which questionnaire you look in, of companies who are using AI, or at least use it a bit, but the vast majority are not using AI yet. Anshuman, what do you think will happen to companies who are not implementing AI? What is the scenario for them for the future?
I think I'll come to that. Before that, I want to add one comment on the privacy, because that's very critical, right? So when you think of ChatGPT or many of these tools, these are like open. Anybody can go, they can ask question. And Facebook also launched the Llama, and you can go and chat with it. But we have seen what Google does, Facebook does, right? So when you are getting a product for free, right? The product is not free, you are the product, right? Like, so they are basically training their model based on your data, right? Whatever you are chatting, they're taking it and they're training their model, right? So be very careful, and because it is open model, your data, let's say Mark put something that they are training out their data on, and somebody else asks a question on Mark or his company, is gonna give that answer, right? This data now goes to somebody else which you may not intend to, because you are chatting, you want to keep your data safe and secure, right? And we take it very seriously, right? In fact, we worked for almost a year on enhancing the privacy. So our platform is not an open platform, right? Anybody cannot just go and ask a question. It's a closed platform. So if you get a user ID password, you're gonna use it, and your data is not going anywhere, right? Only you are using it within your session, and then it's gone, right? No model is being trained on that. Nothing is happening outside what you are doing, right? So it's a closed platform where you go, you log in. It's like your private space, your home, right? You have the lock and key. You go inside, you know what is inside my flat or home, and you come out, you close your door. That's it, right? Nobody has access to it. And privacy security is very important. I think for that, even we did a lot of things like security certificate to VPC to putting it on the cloud and having a lot of other things. And I think we take it very seriously, and as my friend told, I think every company should take it seriously. Whether you use a tool like ours or not, that's secondary, but even if you're doing in-house, I think you should take privacy security very seriously, and just don't use another tool because it is free and easy. Now coming to your question, sorry, remind me a little bit, you asked
what happens to companies who are not implementing
using AI,
who
correct.
say we don't need this, we don't want to use this?
So we have to talk that in the context of the geography and the industry, right? So I have worked in the industries like e-commerce and OTT. Let's say I work for some of the biggest e-commerce companies. I work for Disney and Sony who have OTT platform. Now in those industries, it's not a question of a choice, right? If you are an e-commerce player and people are coming to your platform, whether you are doing forecasting, you are doing pricing, you are doing personalization, you are doing digital marketing, you can't do with AI, right? So there are companies where it's like AI first, because if like so one company worked for in Singapore, we had 200 million users. Now if you have 200 million users and if you are doing marketing for them, right, and you want to send them coupon or promotion or personalized offer, you cannot simply do it for 200 million users manually, right? So it was not a question of choice to use AI or not to use AI. It was by default AI you have to use. If we talk of platform like OTT, Netflix, Disney Plus, or even Sony has a big platform in India, you cannot do it without AI, right? So those industries, there was not a choice, right? E-commerce or OTT. Now there are other industries which have been traditional industries, let's say FMCG or retail, or let's say manufacturing, healthcare. So some of these industries may have the data, right? And whether it will be good or bad will depend on the geography and the industry, right? So because it's a point of competition. Now I gave the example of Dubai Mall. I talked of the luxury brands, right? But if I go to Dubai Mall, even Mall of Emirates, I don't think any of the brands are personalizing their offering according my taste, choice, preferences, right? Because they are doing well. People are coming, buying stuff. They are making a lot of money. And because the competition is not doing it, it's not a matter of concern. Like say Dyer or LV or Gucci, if none of them are doing personalization for the user, you go to the shop, every shop you have to select your product. So it doesn't matter, because you know that okay, I have to go to the shop, select my product. Even for restaurants, isn't it? Any restaurant you go, every restaurant you have to go and place your order, right? None of the restaurants says, hey Mark, I know your taste preference, I'll customize, right? So because nobody is doing in that particular geography or industry, till that time it will not matter, right?
Understood.
When it will matter, the moment some of them starts doing it, maybe some of them will attend your session, learn about
So the moment
AI.
it matters, if you are not participating, you are dying.
Absolutely.
So you are basically forced to do. But if you are in an area, in an industry where no one is doing it yet, you could be the front runner. But if you are not, it's not that horrible.
Correct. And as we can predict probably that you are organizing this event and a lot of people are attending to it and similar things are happening globally. As people know, some of them will try. They will like People sitting here, some of them will go back to their company, they'll say, okay, we have not used anything, but today we learned some example. Why don't you try? What will happen? Max, it will fail, or it may work, right? And then they'll see the value. And once they see the value, they'll adapt. And I think it's a matter of time, right? So it may take some time in some geography and some industry. Others, the adoption will happen faster, right? But I think driving factor for that will be competition rather than technology itself, because some of this technology has been there. It's not that it's not there. So it's the question of adoption, it is a question of urgency, and it is a question of competition.
Right. Do you have any questions to these three gentlemen? Any one of you?
Okay, thinking forward to whatever you all have said, which was intriguing, just wondering, how would AI futuristically help students, or if you have anything like you have from learning and development side, how would you help prospective students who are going to go into universities, looking at their records, marks, etc., their derivatives, interests? Would AI be able to propose their viable options of study, and which area, which is their dominance, even your brain, how the brain activates? What are you, a numeric person? Are you a creative person? Are you a person who writes, who is in rote learning, or the person thinks out of the box? So how would do you think that's a relevant way of how AI possibly could help even universities, schools?
So basically it can help millions of teenagers who don't know what to do in their future to find the right job, yeah?
Yeah, they don't know what to do next.
In my opinion, it will definitely help to let the person understand what the future could be. For one reason, the marks and the past of a person may depend on different variables. The teacher may be very harsh. The kid maybe doesn't like the teacher. Maybe he's a great student in mathematics. Einstein again, he was failing.
Correct.
Why? Because he wasn't performing in that environment. So it was more the environment rather than him. So if we have AI, it will probably predict that he should do literature because he was failing. AI doesn't understand everything that comes to.
So you're saying it's not completely dependable. You cannot depend completely on the AI. Okay.
In my opinion, the human counselor will always understand more.
I see.
Of course, it depends. The human
see.
counselor needs to be good
I see.
and know about the environment and all this, but the questions
Yes, absolutely.
that you ask a kid can actually tell you way more than a model could predict.
You're right.
Based on the past results.
Because I'm thinking if you're going to apply something like that to education in the first place, like from nursery or from kindergarten, think what a big, huge amount of market space we have.
Absolutely, yes.
For doing things.
Yeah,
but as he says, we cannot depend completely on a machine to tell us how to.
I'll just piggyback quickly
Yes.
on. And the most important thing is never forget that an AI is not the superhero of your story. It's the sidekick. It is there to give you information, to give you data, and it's up to you to decide. I would be very wary about saying that there is ever going to be a point where a human should 100% depend on AI.
Right.
That should never happen, especially for such crucial decisions like education and future. It can't take, if an AI takes my data, I would never be here where I am now. That's, just judging by that. So it's important to help our kids learn to develop themselves, to showcase them what is possible, what is out there, and ignite the passion towards something. And that is the most important part. Not to say, okay, listen, I have these X amount of marks, codes, blah, blah, blah. What am I?
Correct.
You are not a machine.
Right.
The human creativity knows no limits, but the AI creativity knows limits because it's created from data sets already existing. It cannot invent.
True.
So never forget that human is the first 10 steps and then comes the machine.
So it's yet to replace a lot of human skills actually, right? And we are still not in that space.
I don't think
I just want to add to that, very good points, but I think we are talking based on what it is today, right? But the question is about the future also, right? Not just today, right?
Yeah.
And we have to see the trajectory, right? If when I was working in the industry 5 years back, we thought AI is what? Like we're crunching numbers, right? 2 plus 2, we're doing Excel, this predicting, churn prediction and all. And that time AI could not do chatting as effectively as it is doing. My friend also mentioned about creativity. I used to tell this example few years back during my lectures that AI cannot do creativity, humans can. But today I completely disagree because there is AI where you can use the AI to write poetry, AI to write blog, AI to create music. Of course, we did not discuss about it today, but that AI is there. It's not so popular, but you may have seen the deepfake videos, right? What are those deepfake videos? Example of creativity, isn't it? Like you take her face, mix it with somebody else's face, take somebody's voice and create a video. And future we may even have a movie. If you have not seen, see those Sora movies that is coming out. That tool is still being developed, right? It's not yet fully ready, but Hollywood is very scared. And I think you may have seen that all the writers and people went for strike in Hollywood for a long period. That's why we did not have enough Hollywood movies in the last 1 year, because they're scared. And I worked at Sony, so I know very well.
You explained me last time that you can basically, in the future, you can take a book,
yes, you can.
Put it into AI, and a ready film is coming out of it, and you can see a film without needing any Hollywood actors anymore.
When I was working at Sony, that was one of our projects, that how do you write a script, right, using AI. And you see Hollywood writers are going on, strike because of that. Because if the studios are doing, script writing, that's like ultimate creativity. And I think that AI is already there. It's not widely adopted, right? Now, what else AI can do? It's a matter of time, I say, rather than yes or no. Because when we are working, one thing is creativity. We think AI cannot do, right? Another thing we thought like emotion. Let's say AI cannot do, right? And we have created a tool where if I put your audio that you are speaking now, it can detect, or all of our audio, I don't know if you're recording or not, it can detect who spoke when Mark spoke, when Anshuman spoke, and what was their emotion. Was he happy or sad, or what was the emotion? Was he excited? Right, now that's emotion. We think that emotion is something I cannot do, but it can do. It can do, because we took a lot of time reading a lot of paper, and we thought, what is emotion? Emotion can be also defined with numbers, right? What is your, like the pitch, the frequency, and the excitement in your voice, the arousal. Is it positive, negative? We can detect the emotion based on that, and AI can do it, right? So I think the potential is infinite, and I'll end this comment with the fact that there is a company called Neuralink. If you have not checked, you should check. That may make even entire education system obsolete. I'm not talking about just learning and career, right? Because we learned for 15 years, 20 years, here we are attending a conference trying to learn more, right? But if these companies succeed, what's going to happen? Let's say you want to learn about AI, you download all of that in a chip, and you just connect it to your brain, and you download the information, right? That's it. And that demo they have already done at MIT and some other places, and they have been successful, right? It's not, of course, widely again available or commercially available, but whatever knowledge you want, you just put in a chip and connect to your brain and download the information. If that can be done, what is education, right? Like we learned for 20 years maths, English, so many things, physics, chemistry, but if you download the data and can transfer to your brain, then you probably don't need an education system. A 5-year-old boy can download, and he's ready for his life, isn't it? So a lot of comments were made, very good comment, but I think we're talking about as of today. But about tomorrow and the possibilities, I see it's gonna change immensely. Of course, will it be still super intelligent, know everything, do everything? No, that may not happen, or it will take long time. But a lot of things that we're talking about, creativity, emotion, or education, they may also see disruption in next 2, 3, 10 years, so I don't know.
Any other question from you?
One more question to you. See how this will be helping us to go from learning perspective to understand the gap analysis, especially skill gap analysis. And you said about maybe in my company there is 10,000 people who will be working. How it is challenging for us to maybe we can monitor the KPIs, performance KPIs?
Yeah, so in gap analysis there are different approaches. So you can start from interviews usually, so interviews with the manager, understand what the needs are, so what we need for the workforce to have, and then understand what the workforce has at the moment. So there are some things that, of course, we can use with AI in order to help us do that. But at the moment, that process is still very much manual, because AI could, understand what's the gap in something already there. So if we give AI to textbooks, we can get AI to understand the differences between the textbooks. But sometimes the skill gap is not something that is clear for all of us, and especially for the management, especially for the company direction and vision that may have changed since the department was created. So we want different training, so we need different skills. So I would say right now AI can help 20% in the process. In the future, there may be more use cases, but I think it will always need some data to start from. So of course we will need to give the skills needed for that role. And after that, if I have an LMS that can track every employee performance, then I will know each employee what they have to perform better in or improve in order to reach that gap and to fill that gap. But for now, we still don't have much. He answered the question.
Okay. One last question, if you want.
What kind of advice do you give to people so that using AI 100%? We human beings, we need still to use our brain and be creative. So what kind of advice?
It's a good question. Yes, please.
Can I start answering, reconnecting into creativity and
Sure.
So, as you said, absolutely, AI can now come up with music, come up with art, come up with anything. We never need to forget that what the output is came from an input. So AI didn't invent that. So that's the definition of creativity. Come up with something that doesn't exist. So for example, if you go back in history, before AI, we would have very performing horses with like a perfect diet. We would never have cars. Why? Because cars come up from human creativity. What AI can do in music, for example, using the notes that have been written over the years and come up with something that has never been done, but it starts from what's already being created. So it will never be something that's completely original in terms of human creativity. I don't know, this is a very complex reasoning, but it's related to the real meaning of creativity. And so not starting from the demand, what the demand is asking, and giving the answer, which is kind of what AI does, because we start from data, we start from something that already exists, like a poet, and we create another poem. Maybe because I've read 300,000 poems, so I know what to do, basically. I can use that same algorithm, and that's how you create what the demand asks. But what if I want to create something that doesn't exist? If I have a pizzeria and my sales go down because of COVID, AI will never tell me, deliver. It's something, it's out of the scope of AI. AI may suggest something in order to improve the sales that already gave results in the past to maybe different pizzeria in a different location, but it's related to what's already there. Creativity, in terms of human creativity, comes from nowhere. That's genius. The genius is not, and so that's I think the limit between humans. And we need to realize that and go back to that. Because of course, like, we can use AI to start from, brainstorm, have a lot of analysis and let them work on data, and then maybe go back to being just focused on creativity and connection. Because of course, like in the example of the school, a counselor may see a kid and understand what's going through, understand the struggles, understand the environment. AI will see the marks. AI will see the results. So also the school example will never be automated because they will never use LMSs. The education system is very difficult.
Sensitive, very sensitive.
Yes. So I can do that maybe in a company. I can understand the employee, maybe he's doing sales, but you should do HR. I can do that. Schools are...
Yeah, with kids it's a sensitive subject.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah, because it's a very good question. I would not tell you do not rely on AI. Rely on AI the same way that you rely on books. So you gather your information, your data. You do not watch only one news channel and create your world idea and worldview out of that channel. So it's important to stay critical first of the data that you are receiving, to stay curious to see what else is there, and then form your own opinion. So it's not relying on AI to give you and shape your worldview and shape you as a person. It's about utilizing AI to get as much information as possible from various sources, various ChatGPTs, I mean there are more than one, from various news channels, various books, YouTube, whatever, and that is going to form you as a person. And one thing that seems to be forgotten, the most powerful AI, in a sense of AI, so to speak, is our own brain. There is no computer which is more powerful than our brain. So fill it with your data, process it yourself, and create a worldview as you want.
Okay. Do you think that we need to educate people how to be limited with using AI, because we don't want to end up like social media at the beginning? It's meant to be to connect people. Now it's not connecting people at all. So I think by overusing AI, we will become the robots.
You are very much right. You are very much right. No, that is a potential issue, definitely.
But I
Yeah,
think
that's the dark side of it. Yeah.
That is the dark side, yes, correct. And how we can educate people is by speaking like this, keeping the information flowing, not silencing it behind overly complex technical terms, which is unnecessary. If you can't explain it like I'm 5, then you don't know anything about it. So it's important to keep the information flowing, to keep yourself curious, and to speak with your peers and share the knowledge. You are right, it might very well come to the fact that we are going to, no, wait, let me ask ChatGPT, that we lose the humane touch. That is possible, but as long as there are people who are, quote unquote, fighting against it, in order to keep AI regulated, ethically responsible, non-biased, then everything is going to be.
I hope so. Thank you.
Okay, one more.
So I think it's a tool. Every tool we can use it well or not. The good thing about AI against social media is that social media came through individuals. So it came through mass adoption. AI is coming through corporate adoption. So it will actually get to mass adoption through the filter of companies that are actually way more careful to use something sometimes, but most of the times, you know, there are regulations, there are filters that protect us, and so I think that filter will help us. But then, of course, as every other tool, it's how we use it. It's not a nature itself.
Very good. Okay.
So we have 4 minutes, so I wanted to ask a second last question. So how you guys are applying AI in your day-to-day personal life or professional life? Just to give you an example, registration for this event, I don't know how other they registered, but from the platform I registered, it was name, email ID and mobile number. How if it was little bit about the audience to do some analysis and customize your presentation accordingly, with all due respect to all the presentations, some were very informative, one was very boring. So to customize the audience, for example, I'm a head of procurement and head of technological transformation also. The second question is linked with all everybody is asking about this.
So very good advice for the future. Thank you.
Okay. Awareness is everywhere. Everybody is talking about the AI. 2 months back, we were in Riyadh in SIPS MENA. 90% presenters were talking about the AI, and the more than 60% audience was busy on their WhatsApp, on social media, nobody was. And remaining were 55, 60 years, which they don't have anything with the AI. So awareness is there, but how you are focused about the knowledge transfer. For example, I'm head of technological transformation. So 80% I focus on the training of the people at the end who will be using the system, and rest I'm focusing, okay, which system will select, how it will be, you know, sitting with our functionality, and how it will be giving us the solution. So the second question is same, what everybody is asking about the knowledge, not only the awareness.
Okay, since the first question was about the presentation, I will let Dr. Ghosh start.
I hope mine was not boring. Okay. So you are asking about awareness and implementation gap, something like that? The first one?
The first one, for example, if you did some data analysis that who are the audience and
personalization,
it was more effective. Again, this is my judgment.
Correct. So that one I think probably for Mark, to take, and I'm sure they are planning so for that. So I think
I can only say that it's a great idea and that we would love to do this. But technically wise, I need to point on you if this is possible or how this could be done. Because
So
it's a great idea, because then everyone who's coming, I mean, there will still be a diverse audience, but everyone who's coming is basically finding what he wants.
Correct. So I think on that two things can be done actually, honestly, and very practically speaking, right? One thing is that we can take some background. Generally, when I go to talk most places or even education institution, one thing I always ask that who is the audience, right? Because the comment that you made, the presentation is boring versus interesting. Not only depends on the presenter, right? Depends on the audience, right? What is interesting to you? Because you are doing a particular business, you are interested in certain thing. So somebody talks about your life, your business, your thing, you find it interesting, right? Because we are all at the end of the selfish human beings, right? We want to know at the end of the day, okay, we had a good session, but what was it for me? Right? Everybody is interested in that, right? Okay, had a good evening, we had learned a lot of things, but how do I use it? What's in it for me, right? Everybody is thinking that way. And it's not possible to make everybody happy, because everybody has a different requirement, different life, different needs, isn't it? So definitely, I think good suggestion. One thing we can definitely do, get their probably industry or their interest in a structured format, right? That which industry, which function, or he's in procurement, like you are also in procurement.
Yes.
Actually, that's Mark's expertise area. You should watch his YouTube videos; they are fantastic. So if we get that information, we can do kind of matching, right? And second thing, which can go beyond that, which is something probably the common knowledge cannot do, is we can just get some audio or text from them, that what they are interested in, right? When we have a form where we ask people like what you are interested in. Now, if that is a text data, that will be very difficult, right? Now, if you know hundreds of people have registered, you give it to Marinella or somebody, now they have to spend so much time and effort going to the hundreds of text. That's difficult to process, and there I think NLP and generative AI can be very effective. So you can go through all the text and give you a summary that Mark, based on these thousands of text, this is the summary of it, and you can also ask that what topics people are interested in. It can tell you these are the topics they are interested in, and who in what industry what they are interested in. Like, so that gives you very good idea. So I can see a very good example of usage of recommendation personalization and also generative AI for doing this thing.
Okay. We will work together on this.
Yes, definitely. And the coming back to your question and her question, I think very important question. One thing is knowledge is there, how do I apply, and that is also linked to as an individual. At a company you are thinking, but also as an individual. So both of your question I see in a similar way. You are thinking now how is it useful for me, and she is also thinking how it is useful for me, and how do I progress and also keep myself safe from AI, right? With the revolution and all that is coming, right? So I would definitely say that application will happen if the time, effort, cost of AI is reasonable, and in addition to that you get a business value, because as a business manager at the end of the day you have to justify the ROI. You may use 100 tools, but at some point of time, initially people are all hyped up, they are trying things to impress people, putting on the presentation, telling people oh you are doing AI, correct? But at the end of the day your boss or somebody will ask, boss, you put this much money, what is the return, right? So when the ROI comes, and if it comes at using something which is effective in terms of time, effort, money, that's where the adoption will also happen. And as I said, it is a matter of time, because what is happening, people are choosing tools and they're trying to use the tool, right? I think somebody said what we should start with is the problem and then find what is the solution. What is happening, for example, there is a story, very nice story, that there was a gentleman who lost who had lot of money at his home, and he is not able to find, right? Or you can think probably at your home you are not able to find the key, a lot of money you put, you are not able to find. And this gentleman is going, there is a lamp post, and below that is searching something. Then some other old man comes and asks, what are you searching? He's saying, okay, I'm searching my money. I lost it, I'm not able to find. Correct. And the old gentleman says, but where did you keep the money? Where is it? So he said that I kept it at the home. He said, why are you searching here? He said, in the home I don't have the light, I have the light here, so I'm searching here. So what is happening, because you have ChatGPT, I think I'll go and use it and solve my problem. It should happen the other way. You know your problem. ChatGPT doesn't know your problem and may not even solve it. So you understand your problem and then find out what solution will suit it, and then do it in a cost time effective manner which can give you the answer. And quickly coming back to the lady's question, I think very foundational question, and we don't have to think that human have only creativity. if we think that that is the limiting, we are limiting ourselves, saying that that's only the defense we have against AI, that we have to be very creative, and not all of us are very creative. I'm personally not very creative, right? And we don't have to be creative. But what we can do, we can go back to the root. Today we talked about AI, artificial intelligence, but let me bring everybody back to intelligence, right? Now we never discuss, I think today we did not discuss, but what is intelligence fundamentally, right? And is intelligence is being replicated by AI or not? So if you want, of course, you can read that research by Howard Gardner. He has given the framework that intelligence has 9 components, 9 types of intelligence. One of them is logico-mathematical intelligence, where you say we do maths, we do something logically, right? That's one type of intelligence. And there is a second type of intelligence which is called linguistic intelligence. Let's say you are speaking, you are listening, you are understanding, so language. So AI was already better than humans in terms of logico-mathematical, right? That number crunching the Excel file can do, a human cannot do, right? Or it can add hundreds of thousands of big number. That part AI is already better, let's not fight with AI, right? We know that. Second part, in terms of language, AI was not good, now getting better. But there are a lot of other type of intelligence, right? So if you're working in a company, you need interpersonal intelligence when you're working with people, right? You have intrapersonal intelligence, how do you understand yourself? You have natural intelligence, how do you understand nature? There's something called spatial intelligence, like if you want to dance, that requires a different kind of intelligence, kinesthetic intelligence, right? So there are 5-6 other type of intelligence which AI is not good at and people are not even focusing. So I think that can be another area.
We must continue this at another point.
Yes.
Because we are at the end of this panel discussion.
Absolutely.
But as I see, you are all watching very carefully. So please download or subscribe our YouTube channel, because here we have discussions like this every day. So you find a lot of videos where we discuss about AI topics with people like these 3 gentlemen, but also all our other experts on AIX. So please subscribe this. I think this will be very interesting for you. So this brings us to the end of this first AIX event here in Dubai. We will do this every 6 to 8 weeks. So you are welcome to join us anytime. Please also look at our website. There are all the time news. Subscribe our newsletters, which are coming twice per week. So we would be very happy to come closer to you and to everything what you want to know about AI. Also, if you have any wishes, what you want to learn about, what you want to hear about, we can also produce videos about this, and especially for our next event, if you have any special wishes, what you want to hear, please let us know.